Welcome to European Railway issue number 92, the DVD magazine for the continental enthusiast. In this programme we have part 2 in our look at the main rail line linking Winterthur and Sankt Gallen in Switzerland. First look at the very busy route between Minden and Wunstorf in Germany. A short stopover in northern France sees passenger and freight action close to the town of Valenciennes. It's off to Italy next as we study trains to the north of Genoa. A return to Switzerland with a look at traffic on the Bahn before the mass introduction of new passenger trains. We finish the programme off from southern France to the south of Orange. We begin the programme from Switzerland and the concluding part of our look at the main line between Winterthur and St. Gallen, where we film as far as Gossau. The map here shows the first filming location on the top left, close to Wil, where we then head east choosing a number of spots, including the station at Flaville. The more detailed map here shows our initial position next to the now closed station at Schwarzenbach, just 3 kilometres east of Wil. Local services between St. Gallen and Wil, and then on the section to Winterthur, are formed of Stadler GTW Class 526 units. This one is number 792. At the time of our filming, Geneva to St. Gallen services were still in the hands of Class 460 locomotives on double-deck stock. Here we see 460 088 heading east. .500 027 follows a few minutes later. Class 500 intercity units are common to this route. Most work services between St. Gallen and Solothurn. Here we have set numbers 500 026 and 019. 11244 rounds the bend with postal train 50015 from Harkingen to St. Gallen. Moving east, and we head towards the station at Flaville, stopping off first at a location to the northwest of the town. Eurocity trains between Zurich and Munich are currently worked to Lindau by Class 421 electrics. Electrification of the route through Germany is now completed, and these trains are expected to be operated by ETR 610 and the new RABE 501 train sets from December 2021. With delivery running 8 years late, the Class 502 units built by Bombardier are all expected to be delivered by the end of this year. 4-car variant number 404 is seen here heading east. This is the station at Flaville. Originally opened by the St.Gallen to Appenzell Railway, the line was built between 1855 and 1856, with the Wil to Flaville section opening on the 25th of December 1855. The route became part of the Swiss Federal Railways on the 1st of July 1902 upon nationalisation. A year later, the route started to be doubled, and with it came eventual electrification, which was completed in 1927. 500 027 and 029 draw to a stand, forming the 1407 from St. Gallen to Lausanne. 460,007 and 460,081 on the rear form the 1032 from Geneva Airport to St. Gallen. Class 502 units come in two forms, 8-car and 4-car formations. This is 502010, one of the 8-car sets used for intercity services. The 4-car sets are used for interregional services. We continue on our journey towards Gossau, with our first spot just to the east of Flawil, shown here on our map. Heading east are 460, 032 and 075. This is the scene at Gossau, with 420-266 stabled in between freight duties, where it is overtaken by 511-015 with the 1509 service from Zurich to Chur. The meter gauge Appenzellerbahn runs into the station, and at the time of our filming their sidings were full of withdrawn stock, which had been replaced by newly delivered units from Stadler. One of the 5 new Stadler units introduced from 2018 heads out of the station towards Wasserraum. (526, 734 and 746) slow for the station stop, with the 1616 from St.Gallen to Wil. Finally, in this section, 500, 020 and 037 apply the brakes, forming the 1607 from St.Gallen to Lausanne intercity service. It is on to Germany next, as we begin part 1 of a 3-part section on the busy main line that runs to the west of Hannover and then southwest towards the industrial cities of Dortmund and Düsseldorf. Located in the northwest of the country, we cover the 2-track section of line linking Minden with the junction at Wunstorf. It was our original intention to use this material in one of our line-by-line programmes, but the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic has meant that our filming has been somewhat restricted this year, so we've now included it here in our European Railway series. We begin to the east of Minden, around Buckeberg, and then east towards Kirchhorsten. Heading west we have this blast from the past, as 14870 travels towards the camera on its way to Osnabrück, where it will later return with an automotive train. Local stopping services are in the hands of Class 424 units and similar 425 units belonging to DB. Semi-fast services operate using Stadler Class 445 double-deck KISS units owned by the private firm Westfalenbahn, which work from Braunschweig to Minden and then on to Bielefeld. Intercity services are generally hourly in each direction and formed of ICE units or loco-operated coaching stock. Here 402, 034 and 028 head west, with the 1035 from Berlin to Köln. Moving east a few kilometres, we come to the station at Buckeberg, where we chose two spots either side of the station platforms. In terms of traffic density, you can expect around 10 trains per hour, where around half will be freight services. Heading train 41411 is 186428, hard to RTB cargo. The service runs 4 days per week, linking Rheinhausen in Germany with Quesnoy in Poland. This is 101-114. Seven minutes later and 185050 appears at the head of train 51226, a mixed freight from Zieltzer Yard in Hannover to Gremberg Yard in Köln. Class 424 units, based at Hannover, are 4-car articulated train sets, built between 1998 and 1999. Here 424028 leads 424005 on a stopping service for Minden. (185-198) breaks through the heat haze, powering train 51202 from Osnabrück to Cielzer Yard at Hannover. Nine minutes later, and it was the turn of 145041, with train 51833 from Mannheim to Cielzer. Some of the intercity trains are Class 146 hauled, using a double-deck stock. This is 146566 on the 0913 from Köln to Dresden. At the other end of the station, 424031 and 029 restart their journey from Minden to Hannover. Older electric traction is now getting rare on this line, as in this case of Class 151 number 026. Indeed, DB Cargo have recently announced that they intend to stop using these locos on their services apart from a dedicated fleet working iron ore trains from Hamburg docks to bedding and steelworks. The train here is headed for Cielzer Yard and has been recessed to allow faster trains to overtake. Every 2 hours in each direction are intercity services to and from Amsterdam. These are nearly always hauled by Class 101 electrics. This is number 031. Westfalenbahn operate 13 of these Class 445 units for services between Braunschweig and Bielefeld. Another oldie in the shape of 155-151, here heading north with a Gremberg to Cielce mixed freight. .425 and .423 combinations can also be seen on the local services to and from Minden. Not that it is easy to distinguish the different classes apart. Travelling northeast a few kilometres and we come to the outskirts of Obernkirchen, which provides for a couple of trackside locations. With the local postman hard at work on his rounds, we looked north as we see Class 182 number 506 heading south light engine. This particular class are not that common here, restricted to just a handful of examples to be seen each day. The line between Hannover and Minden was formally opened by the Royal Hanoverian State Railways on the 15th of October 1847. Talk today is of completely rebuilding the line and the construction of a new parallel high-speed track for use by intercity services and fast freights. 225015 is now used for engineering trains since its acquisition by infrastructure operator BBL. (146-556) passes with the 0712 service from Köln. Another 146, this time number 570, powers the 0523 Dresden to Köln service. (445-110) heads north, forming the 0838 from Rheine to Braunschweig. (145-036) heads light engine bound for Osnabrück. At certain times of the day, this line is worked to capacity, with many slower freights looped to allow faster trains to pass. 185046 powers train 51552 from Hagen to Zielce. A few kilometres north is the town of Kirchhorsten. The local station is fairly nondescript, but does offer another vantage point from where to watch the procession of trains that use this route. First up we have 425-050 and 076, departing with the 935 from Minden to Hannover local stopping service. Three minutes later and 185617 heads empty rail carriers. It is one of two such locos hired out to Mindener Kreisbahn. 423271 is paired with 425053 as it approaches the station from the north, forming one of the hourly stopping services from Hannover to Minden. Finally, in this first part of our look at traffic along this route, we see Class 386 electric number 030 belonging to Czech intermodal operator Metrans. The train is number 43450, an as required service from Giadki to Rheinhausen. Moving to northern France now, and we make an early morning visit to the main line to the southeast of the large town of Valenciennes. Located on the strategic freight route linking the channel ports of Calais and Dunkirk, the route also plays host to a number of local passenger workings. Our chosen spots are close to the picturesque town of Quesnoy. The date is the 8th of June 2019. We've filmed many of these local double-deck commuter trains over the nearly 20 years of European railway, with a fair share of motive power types ranging from BB16500s to dual-voltage BB25500s and now BB22200 electrics, such as number 22278 seen here. A Marseille-based loco for many years, it was transferred to Lens depot, where the final 25500 electrics were withdrawn from these services a few years ago. This particular loco entered traffic on the 19th of May 1979. The straight but undulating track makes for an interesting sight. On this particular day, 60-mile-an-hour winds were being experienced along the coastal regions of northern France, due to a deep area of low pressure which swept in from the Atlantic. Freight traffic is occasional, with maybe one working per hour on average. Here 27079 and 052 head steel carrying wagons bound for Dunkirk. Not far behind is 22303, on a train for Lille. Steel slab from Dunkirk is taken to plants near Metz for further processing. These heavy trains are booked for pairs of BB 27000s. On this occasion, numbers 074 and 094 are in charge. Local passenger services are also operated by electric multiple units, such as Z24500 unit number 741, seen here. Four freights were seen in our 2-hour stopover, including this one hauled by 27087, conveying mainly empty covered steel wagons, again bound for the yards at Dunkirk. Our second to last train in this short section is another freight, this time headed by 27070. Once our current COVID restrictions have passed, this line is probably worth a visit should you be passing through the area. And finally a quick trip back in time to the 5th of May 1998, and to a position a couple of kilometres away from our current location. Flatiron number 12125 powers past the camera with a Somal to Genoa trip freight. Oh, I wish we had a time machine. We head to the south of Europe now and to the Genoa area in northern Italy, where we focus on the main rail routes out of the city towards Turin and Milan. In the first of a two-part feature, we begin in the city suburbs before heading north, stopping off at various locations shown here on our map. Here are the positions of our first two locations. Our filming took place in early 2018 and 2019. This view looks south towards the coast and shows the Morandi motorway bridge in the far background that collapsed on the 24th of August 2018 with the loss of 43 lives. A new bridge has since been built. The two lines, seen here on the left and right, merge behind the camera and are part of the newer route to the north. Between the two tracks is a now abandoned line which linked to the original route, which is located further to the left and out of view from our camera. A passenger train pushed at the back by a single cab Class 464 electric heads towards the city and slows for a signal check before continuing over the girder bridge and on through a tunnel underneath the hills on the left. (402.045) heads north with a service for Milan. The line it is using is the second pass line, which was opened in 1889 due to the original line becoming full to capacity, especially with freight traffic. This view shows a regional stopping service heading north on the line to Ovada and eventually Alessandria. (444.051) is next to be seen with another northbound. These locos were in their final months of regular operations when this was filmed. Built from 1967, there were 113 examples constructed. Now, just a handful remain and are confined to empty stock workings. A Class 464 powered train follows shortly after. Class 402B are the most common class of loco now found on loco-hauled intercity duties, This one heads south with a Tello Eurocity service. The original line, which is now mainly used for local train services, is just visible as it passes under the bridge at the end of the curved viaduct on the left. The old route was opened to traffic on the 18th of December 1853. Freight traffic, like in many other European countries, has declined steeply over the last 20 or so years, leaving bulk flows such as this as the primary source of traffic type. A pair of Class 652s, led by 652-173, head north with a trainload of steel coils. Our second location is slightly to the north and shows a Class 444 on the Line 2. The original line, which as we mentioned opened in 1853, can be seen just to the left of the riverbed. Another Class 444 crosses the bridges on its way north. A Class 464 powered local service is seen on the original line. This is the viaduct at Santa Marta, which takes the second pass line across the valley of the river Po Civer. A Class 444 heads north in the early morning with a train for Milan. On the hill is this sanctuary and shrine of the Madonna della Guardia, or the Lady of our Guard. Continuing our journey north, we call into Busala and on towards Ronco Scrivia, where the two lines briefly come together. We then finish around the picturesque town of Isola del Cantone. This is Busala station, and two Class 402B locos are seen, one passing south and the other northbound. Two more locations are visited now, just to the north around Ronco Scrivia, as shown here on our maps. With the Scrivia River just next to the tracks, we can also see the Ronco go-kart track in the background. Having been diverted off its normal route due to engineering works, this is a southbound Pendolino high-speed train set of type ETR 485. Just north of the station, the line split again through two different tunnels. A Class 402B exits with a Tello Eurocity service and is passed by another heading north. North of Ronco, we visit Isola del Cantone, probably one of the most photographed parts of the route. You can see why it's popular. The tracks are elevated above the river, giving unrestricted views of the passing trains. This is the old route, or first pass line as it's also called. A Class 464 pushes a local stopping train north. This view is from the road bridge to the south, where a Class 464 heads a local service and is passed by a Class 402B in the opposite direction. Another Class 402B, but one with a more important duty, as it hauls the Venice-Simplon Orient Express south towards Genoa. Just north of the town we get this view of a Class 402B heading south. We will cover more of this route in the next edition of European Railway. The largest narrow-gauge railway in Switzerland, the Rätische is currently undergoing a rolling stock modernisation plan, which will see the elimination of many of the current locomotives and coaches that are used on the company's services. Located in the southeast region of the country, we call in at a number of spots to watch the old order in action. We begin on the section between Chur and Illanz, including just west of Reichenau and around Valenciennes. Services along this route are still the preserve of locomotive operations, although as already mentioned this will change with the delivery of more Stadler Capricorn electric multiple units currently on order. These new units will total 56 train sets and are in addition to the Stadler Allegra class units already delivered in 2010 and 2012. This is the station at Wirtsam-Safien, as GE 442 electric locomotive number 626 arrives with the 1144 from Disentis to Landquart. 23 of these locomotives were built, with 22 now left in traffic. Number 628 was withdrawn in July 2020 after striking a landslip. The future of the class is uncertain, but some are expected to be kept for use on freight services together with the more modern GE 443 locos. The new Capricorn units will work the Landquart to Davos and Filisur routes, before expanding onto the Landquart to St. Moritz trains, where services will both split and join at Klostersplatz. They will then gradually take over the Chur to Disentis services, which we see here. Back at Wirtsam-Safien, and number 616 heads east with another Glacier Express working from Zermatt to St. Moritz. Just west of Reichenau we see the same locomotive heading west, with another Glacier Express working. The loco will take the train to the station at Desentis, where a Matterhorn-Gotthard bound loco will take the train forward. Moving up the valley now, and we call into various locations around Villerseur. First is to the west, between there and Zollis, before turning our attention to the section of line around the famous Albula spirals. This is the station at Zorava, and GE 662 locomotive number 707 arrives with a southbound freight from Landquart to Zamudan. These locos are set for withdrawal during the next year or so, with more modern types from the fleet taking over their duties. The train is looped while it awaits the single-track section in front of it to clear. Number 630 passes the ensemble with a Glacier Express service from St. Moritz to Zermatt. The same train is about to cross the famous Zolitza viaduct. The bridge is 89 metres high, 164 metres long, and has a main span of 42 metres. It was built in 1902 and takes the tracks across the Albula Gorge. At Alvernoy, the 2,623 metre high Muchetta mountain dominates the scene as locomotive 647 hauls one of the 6 Alvra articulated train sets, plus 3 postal containers, on a service from St. Moritz to Chur. Most services along this route are hauled by Allegri units, having taken over from the Class GE 443 electrics we saw just now. This one heads down grade not long after leaving Villerseur. This is the Albula viaduct on one of these spirals that takes the line up the steep valley floor between Burgun and Preda. A Glacier Express service is seen climbing the 3.5% grade. One of the 2010 delivered 3-car dual voltage Allegri units is seen with more older rolling stock on the climb up to Preda. The road here is also a great toboggan run through the winter months. Locomotive number 704 is one of the 5 members of the class that were built from 1965 onwards. Here it heads a freight up the grade bound for Zamudan. As mentioned, the shape of the Rätische fleet will change over the coming year, as the new electric units are deployed, and what follows will be the cascading of newer locos, resulting in the withdrawal of these once familiar loco classes. Finally, this 3-car Allegri unit heads upgrade towards the summit at Preda. For the last section in this programme, we head to the Rhône River Valley in southern France to take a look at action on the busiest of 2 classic lines either side of the river. Situated to the south of Orange, our location is one of just a handful of spots in this area which offer good views of the line in both directions. The area around Courthézon is featured here, with the 3 main filming spots shown on our map. The afternoon is the best time to visit, as the sun is on the right side for photography. Heading north with the 1310 Marseille to Lyon regional service is 22309. Now withdrawn, number 7440 follows right behind. The line here is electrified at 1500 volts DC and was once the main passenger route from Paris to Marseille, before the parallel TGV line was completed nearly 20 years ago. The line we are focusing on here was opened in stages from Paris between 1847 and 1856. Next up we see diesel loco number 75062 on a northbound infrastructure working. You might already be seeing a trend in terms of train direction. For the first 2¼ hours of our visit, all trains were northbound. 6 minutes behind the infrastructure train is Euro 4000 diesel number E4028, operated by SNCF subsidiary VFLI. It is taking empty wagons back to Vittel for loading with bottles of mineral water. At 15:17 hours, 12 minutes behind the previous train, came 26122 hauling 26119, 27050 and 26209. I'm glad to say that all three BB 26000s are still in traffic today. The use of 22200 electrics on interregional services between Marseille and Lyon is set to continue for the foreseeable future, until new units are introduced. This is 22257. (26113) was introduced into traffic on the 19th of February 1993 and was the first southbound working that we saw during our visit. 168 members of this class remain in traffic out of an original fleet size of 234. Local services are often in the hands of Rhone-Alps-based Z24500 double-deck units. This is number 24541. Another southbound and another freight, of which 9 were seen during our 5-hour visit. 26210 provides the power this time around. 22312 is one of 156 members of the class remaining in traffic, and one of 33 allocated to passenger duties radiating out of Lyon. TGV Southeast set number 15 is seen here. It is one of just 7 left in traffic from a fleet size of 118. E4049 was the next to be seen heading north at just before 6:30 in the evening. Built by Stadler in Valenciennes, the loco entered traffic in 2016 and is one of 7 operating under the VFLI banner. Introduced into traffic on the 19th of July 2016 is B84615, which is one of 10 examples of the fleet allocated to duties in this part of France under the Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur regional area. (22376) is now in its 36th year of traffic as it heads north with a container train from the port south of Miramar near Marseille. Finally, 22389 partners 27162 on this southbound container working bound for Miramar. As can be seen, this line can offer some interesting train types and motive power, and is well worth a visit, coronavirus notwithstanding. As the train disappears from view, we would like to thank you for watching this edition of European Railway.